Chapter 86, Teaching the Noob. Yi Shu led 7 Fields group to Boneyard. 7 Fields, Sunset Clouds, Drifting Water were like Lord Grimm, and were level 21. With regards to the level 23 to 26 Boneyard and its higher-leveled monsters, they weren't very confident. Steamed Bun Invasion was level 23. The Boneyard had monsters at the same level as him, so he was already eager to try them out. Steamed Bun Invasion was obviously going to be coached by Yi Shu. Although it couldn't be said that 7 Fields and the others couldn't improve, in such a desperate situation, only Steamed Bun Invasion could be counted on. After dispatching 7 Fields and the others to train, Yi Shu began teaching Steamed Bun Invasion one-on-one. First, he had to explain to this guy his Brawler class. The Brawler class had mixed strengths. But in this level 25 stage, it didn't possess any AoE skills. A level 1 Brawler could learn the same skill as every other class. A knock-up skill called Uppercut. At level 5, it could learn the skill Slap. A slap would sharply and clearly move others. It was the only aggro-related skill before the class change. The level 10 skill Knee Attack struck the target with the user's knee. However, it could only be considered a half-grab skill because it didn't have a knockdown effect. Afterwards, the level 15 skill Strangle could not be used behind the target. After locking onto the target's throat, Strangle, like the Knee Attack, didn't have a knockdown effect. At level 20, after changing classes, the Brawler could learn the skill Brickbuster. However, hitting the back of the head to trigger the effect was a bit difficult. The mouse movement had to be quick and accurate. After that, there was the level 20 skill, Sand Toss. Yi Shu had already instructed Steamed Bun Invasion on this move. Brawlers could learn the skill, Apply Poison, at level 25. It would apply poison to the user's weapon. Afterwards, attacks could poison the target. However, this poison didn't last. It was a one-time additional damage that ignored defense. Currently, the level 23 Steamed Bun Invasion couldn't learn it, so Yi Shu didn't talk about it. Steamed Bun Invasion had already learned about different methods on how to use the above skills with normal attacks from his own experience. So Yi Shu first instructed him on the hidden effects of all of these skills. For example, how Slap could hit twice. When Knee Attack was used as a back attack, it could knock back the target. When Strangle was used, the opponent would have his or her defense reduced by half. None of these things were written in the skill tooltip and could be considered hidden effects. While Steamed Bun Invasion was engrossed in the game, he didn't check any guides, so he didn't know. If you don't understand anything, why'd you pick this class? Yi Shu asked him. In the end, the guy told him that he just randomly learned skills when he was still unspecialized. And later, he felt that the Brawler's Slap, Knee Attack, and Strangle were all commonly used attacks when he fought in the streets. So he immediately felt that this class was very moving. When he was moved to the extreme, he changed classes in satisfaction. This answer made Yi Shu sweat a little, but he had already changed classes, so there was nothing he could do. After instructing him hand-to-hand, Steamed Bun Invasion, who already possessed high hand speed, improved at lightning speed, playing extremely well. Yi Shu was now only worried about one problem: with this guy's passion for gaming and the fact that he was already 2 levels higher than him, this guy won't reach level 26 before he gets to level 25, right? This problem was extremely serious. Yi Shu felt that he had to talk about it with Steamed Bun Invasion. Steamed Bun? How long has it been since you last slept? Yi Shu asked. Huh. I'm not tired. Steamed Bun Invasion was happily clearing and slapping monsters. You should probably rest. I found a few guides for you. They all talk about brawlers. You can take a look at them, Yi Shu said. Oh, I'll look at them when I eat. Steamed Bun Invasion. Even if you keep leveling like this, you're not going to be able to catch up to the big guild's players. Those all have several people playing on one account, so they level every day without resting, Yi Shu said. Steamed Bun Invasion showed his disdain. That's stupid. More people, more strength. So don't try to compete with them by yourself. Relax and slowly level. The most important thing is that if you level so quickly, you'll be level 26 in a flash. How am I supposed to look for you so we can set a dungeon record together? Yi Shu finally said his main point. Why not? Steamed Bun Invasion really was too much of a noob. He didn't even know how dungeon records worked. Yi Shu could only explain it to him. Afterwards, Steamed Bun Invasion couldn't help but fall into confusion. He wanted to quickly level, but also wanted to set a new record and go up on TV. 7 Fields and the others were summoned by Yi Shu to be lobbyists for him and persuade Steamed Bun Invasion. These 3 also did their utmost to explain to Steamed Bun Invasion that in Glory, levels were like floating clouds. Going up on TV, going up on the leaderboards were the most majestic goals in Glory. The pile of players bombarded him one after another. Finally, Steamed Bun Invasion reluctantly accepted. Okay then. Then I'll try to slow down. God, how many days do you need to level? I'll be quick, Yi Shu said. Oh right, don't join a guild in these few days. Okay. Finally, he settled the matter with Steamed Bun Invasion. Yi Shu let out a sigh. Dealing with this noob wasn't easy. No matter how you said it, he wouldn't listen to you. Being a noob was also a type of strength. Steamed Bun Invasion, who had a difficult time accepting that he had to level slower, couldn't kill too many monsters. If he didn't, he'd be bored. Killing too quickly wasn't good, but killing too slowly was boring. For a moment, he didn't know what he should do, so he simply logged out of the game and looked at the guides Yi Shu gathered for him. Yi Shu looked. And at long last, this guy stopped leveling. However, he himself had to hurry up. As a result, he partied with 7 Fields and the others and madly cleared monsters as if they were in a dungeon. They cleared so madly that the 3 players started feeling a little nauseous towards the boneyard. Yi Shu was still full of energy though. The other 3 couldn't help but sigh with sorrow. He really deserves to be called brother expert. They trained in the boneyard until the day came. The 4 players had all leveled to level 22. Although 7 Fields and the others wanted to vomit, brother experts leading made leveling more efficient, making the 3 of them a little reluctant to leave. However, on Yi Shu's side, it was time for him to change shifts, so he couldn't continue playing at the reception desk. After hurriedly handing over the shift, he quickly rushed over to the smoking area to continue playing. Chen Guo woke up from her sleep. She looked out from the window and saw the nice weather. Stretching, she climbed out of her bed. She rubbed the sleep out of her eyes and wanted to go to the bathroom. When she reached her bedroom door, she suddenly remembered that there was still a male living in these rooms. She couldn't casually expose her body like she did before when it was just her and Tang Ru. Thinking of this, Chen Guo quickly fixed her pajamas. Whatever needed to be tied was tied. Whatever needed to be buttoned was buttoned. Only then did she leave the bedroom. After leaving the room, she looked to the side. Tang Ru's room was completely open. Too careless. There's a male living here too. If you didn't close your door when you slept, who knew what a male's lust could do? While thinking of this, Chen Guo did an experiment. She tested whether she could see Tang Ru's bed from the door crack. In the end, she saw the bed, but she didn't see anyone in it. Chen Guo stared blankly. She pushed open the door. Tang Ru's bed hadn't been touched. She hadn't slept all night. Chen Guo was astonished. She immediately went towards Yi Shu's storage room. The door was also wide open. After a bit of hesitation, she decided to run in and look. No one here either. These 2 were lunatics. Chen Guo foolishly looked towards the 2 empty rooms on her left and right. Chapter 87, I feel like none of you slept. Chen Guo quickly tidied everything up and then appeared in the internet cafe like the wind. While the employees all greeted her with "Morning boss," her gaze fell on Tang Ru in the non-smoking area. Her expression was the same as when Chen Guo went to sleep, concentrated without the slightest hint of tiredness. She ran to the smoking area and her gaze fell onto another person. Yi Shu was over here smoking, taking in clouds and puffing out fog. In that cloud of smoke, the rough outline of his figure could be seen playing the game. Early in the morning. This was the time of day when the internet cafe was the most empty. There were even fewer guests now than when the guests were pulling all-nighters. The sounds of these 2 playing crisply echoed throughout the internet cafe. You once, me once, pa 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 pa. Chen Guo ignored Yi Shu and first went over to Tang Ru. Still playing. You're asking to die, Chen Guo closed in while speaking. No response. Tang Ru was wearing her headphones, which only allowed her to hear the game noises. The Chen Guo next to her simply wasn't with her in the same world. Chen Guo could only step forward and take off her headphones. Only then did Tang Ru respond. You got up so early. Tang Ru turned her head to look at Chen Guo for half a second and then turned back to the game. Pa 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 pa. You've gone mad from playing. Chen Guo was helpless. She was starting to feel a little skeptical on whether pulling Tang Ru into glory was the right thing to do. Ha ha, Tang Ru laughed, but didn't say anything. What level? Chen Guo went up to look. Level 16. I'm still off from Yishu's Lord Grimm by 5 levels. Tang Ru said this and opened up her friends list. After seeing Lord Grimm's name, she cried out in surprise, whoa, he leveled up again. He's level 22 now. So competitive. Finish this dungeon and then go to sleep. Once you're done resting, you can go back and play. Chen Guo saw that Tang Ru's soft mist was in the beginner village's skeleton graveyard fighting in close quarters. She was soloing it too. Who would believe that this was a glory noob? What, sleep? It's almost time for me to go to work, Tang Ru said. Chen Guo was startled. That was true. Today, Tang Ru had the morning work shift. Normally, she would already be sitting at the reception desk. I'll go once I'm out of this dungeon, Tang Ru smiled at Chen Guo. No matter how good their relationship was, in the end there was still a boss-to-employee relationship. Tang Ru also had work to do in the internet cafe. She wasn't eating for free or living here for free, only playing here for free. First rest a bit. I'll ask someone to switch with you, Chen Guo said. No need, no need, Tang Ru chatted with Chen Guo while her hands never stopped moving. This night, through the guides and the game, Tang Ru had learned how to use the battle mage's low-level skills. Tang Ru had improved a lot and was already different from before, not completely relying on reaction speed and hand speed to play. Okay. Under Chen Guo's watch, Tang Ru's soft mist soloed the Spider Cave's final boss. After logging out of the game and shutting off the computer, she immediately headed towards the reception desk. Chen Guo silently followed her, and then when she reached the reception desk, Tang Ru had already logged back into the game. We should at least eat something, right? Chen Guo said. You haven't eaten either? Thanks, Tang Ru laughed as if she had won a favor. I don't know what to say, Chen Guo forced a smile. She went out to buy breakfast and then returned to give Tang Ru a portion. She even brought a portion for Yishu. Ah, boss, you're too kind. Yishu took the breakfast and said, I didn't help put a blanket over you yesterday night. Did you sleep well last night? Both of you are mad. Chen Guo thought of the rooms that clearly had 3 people living in them. But when she woke up, she found that she was the only one there. Oh, little Tang didn't sleep either, Yishu said and opened up his friends list to check. Sure enough, Soft Mist was still online. You didn't know? Chen Guo stared blankly. Don't tell me these two didn't say anything to each other over the entire night? Tang Ru was chasing after this guy's level, but this guy actually didn't know at all. I didn't notice. Perfect. I still have something I need to talk with her about. Yishu took his breakfast and ran to look for Tang Ru. At this moment, Tang Ru was eating her breakfast while looking at a battle mage guide. Seeing Yishu come over, she immediately swallowed the food in her mouth. After wiping her mouth, she nodded her head and said hello. What level are you? Yishu asked. Level 16. How quick? Hurry up and get to level 25. There'll be something fun to do, Yishu said. Oh, what thing? Tang Ru asked. Have you seen the Frost Forest clear record? Yishu asked. I saw it. It looks like your record was broken, Tang Ru said. She followed the records pretty closely because she had originally wanted to surpass Yishu. But in the end, she didn't think that someone had already beaten that night. One of them was even Yishu's own party. Tang Ru saw Lord Grimm's name on the second place party. It was a much better time than his original one too. It didn't only beat my record. It's the highest clear record in all 10 of Glory's servers, Yishu said. You want to take it back? Tang Ru said. Yup. Fun, right? Yishu said. If you take it back and then I beat yours, that'd be even more fun, Tang Ru said. When were we enemies? Yishu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It looked like this sister really did want to beat him. Haha, Tangru laughed. When you get to level 20, try out the dungeon for yourself first. It looks to me like you're looking down on this record too much, Yishu said. I was just kidding. The highest record in all 10 of Glory's servers must be amazing, Tangru said. Oh, then hurry up and level then, Yishu let out a sigh. He was worried that this girl might be a bit too conceited. Okay, Tangru nodded her head. Are you sleeping tonight? Yishu asked. Hey, you two are going too far, Chen Guo suddenly jumped out to interrupt them. After hearing this, it looked like these two weren't going to sleep. Did they need to play so crazily? Relax, boss. It won't interfere with work, Yishu said. No good. The internet cafe's computers are all mine. I won't let you play on them, Chen Guo said unreasonably. Yishu let out a sigh. He knocked on the reception desk. Little Tang, open up a membership card for me. Tang Ru was startled, but then immediately went to do it while mumbling to herself, then I'll open up one too. Chen Guo fell apart. She really was going to die from anger. The more irritating part was that Tang Ru was also going to follow what he said blindly. She's ruined. She's only played Glory for a day and she's already ruined. I won't care about you guys then, Chen Guo ran off in anger. Cough, hurry up and level. Yishu didn't mention the membership card and told Tang Ru to take care. He went back to the smoking area to continue struggling. Tang Ru's morning shift went from 7 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon. Business in the morning was relatively slow, so she wasn't very busy and could still play. In the afternoon, guests gradually began to flow in. The reception desk was a bit too busy for her. She could only play the game on and off, but she still continued to persevere. However, Yishu stopped when it was noon. He ran over to check on Tangru and saw that she was still playing even under such busy conditions. It really wasn't easy. You're really not going to sleep? Yishu asked. I have the morning shift. I don't get off until 3, Tangru said. Okay, Yishu replied, you still have to pay attention to your sleep. Physical strength greatly influences your ability to play, too. Chapter 88, Glory League. Between Yishu and Tangru, one of them went to sleep after lunch, while the other went to sleep after the 3 o'clock shift. When dinner arrived, neither of them were there. Chen Guo angrily annihilated her dinner with the other employees. She originally didn't want to leave either of them food, but after eating midway, she gave in to her soft-heartedness and in the end, she left the two of them food. At 8 o'clock at night, Yishu, with 8 hours of sleep, woke up like a machine. After smoking a cigarette, he went to rinse his mouth and wash his face. He then left the room and headed downstairs. The internet cafe downstairs was pitch black again. It was the same as when Yichu's retirement was announced. Yishu was startled. Then, he thought of Happy Internet Cafe's practice of broadcasting the Glory Profession Alliance Championship. He calculated the date. Today was the day of Glory's 20th match. He looked at the first floor's lounge and just as expected, the projection curtain from last time had already been opened. At this moment, the esports channel was already being streamed onto it. The match hadn't yet started, but many people had already scrambled for a good position. While they played on the computer in front of them, they waited for the match to start. Yishu walked up to the reception desk and asked the little sister there, which match? Clearly, the little sister at the reception desk didn't care too much about Glory. As before, she was still watching her K-dramas. However, as part of an internet cafe, she knew what should be known, excellent eras. Yishu nodded his head. He understood very well. The Glory Professional Alliance had a total of 20 clubs. The 20 teams fought each other one-on-one. The 10 matches were held at the same time. The TV channel was limited in how much it could show at once, so they usually only broadcasted the most important match. But as an esport, the true broadcasts were on the internet. On the internet, all 10 matches were streamed at the same time. The spectators could freely choose which match they wanted to see. Happy Internet Cafe and Club Excellent Era were in the same city, so most of the people here naturally supported their hometown's team. Happy Internet Cafe mainly broadcasted Excellent Era's matches. Now that Yichu retired, although the supporters were sad, their support for their club didn't change. The newly introduced expert, Sun Xiang, made them feel even more expectant. They hoped that Excellent Era could rise from their slump in the previous season. Currently, as the second-to-last place team, they were still quite far from getting a playoff spot. But the season was just a bit over halfway through, so everyone still had hope that some miracle would happen. The matches all started at 8:30 p.m. There were still 10 minutes until they started. After Chen Guo attended to all of the guests, she came over and saw Yishu at the reception desk. "Boss," Yishu immediately said hello. "I left you some food," Chen Guo said. "Thanks." Yishu went to go get food to eat. Broadcasting Excellent Era's match? Yishu chatted with Chen Guo while eating food. "Yeah," Chen Guo nodded her head. "Who are they against?" Yishu asked. 301, Chen Guo said. "Oh." Yishu nodded his head. With regards to the pro teams, he obviously knew more about them than Chen Guo. 301 was the short form for Team 301 Degrees, a part of Club 301 Degrees. They were an old team in glory. They kept their rankings in the middle with a steady performance. Although the team didn't have a powerful account like the Battle God 1 Autumn Leaf, the 6 main accounts had equal strength. Among the 6 characters that the team captain Yang Kong controlled, the Assassin Scene Killer possessed Silver Dual Swords, Chaotic Winding Shadow Swords. He played shrewdly and ruthlessly, a troublesome opponent. In the league's first half, Excellent Era had been bullied around by everyone. But now that a new expert had come, they clearly showed their intent to rise again. It was Sun Zhang's first match since he joined the team, yet the TV channels all chose to broadcast this. 8:30. The matches began on time. Yishu had already madly annihilated his dinner. The atmosphere in the internet cafe began to heat up. Everyone boldly discussed their opinions on the upcoming match and arrogantly commented on their predictions. Yishu looked to Chen Guo, who was also extremely excited. She was worthy of being called one of Glory's most devoted fans. The 20th match of the Season 8 Glory Professional Alliance Championship, 301 Degrees vs Excellent Era. A title appeared on the broadcast. The commentator spurred the mood by shouting as if he were wailing like ghosts and howling like wolves, while introducing today's honored guest, Li Yibo. "So it's Li Yibo." Yishu didn't need any introduction. There were very few people he didn't know among the pros. Li Yibo was a former pro player, but he retired 4 years ago. His skill level in the professional circle was also considered top tier and he was very good at networking. When he was a pro player, he established a good relationship with the media. After retiring, he immediately became an honored guest among the professional commentators. He had already been doing this for 4 years. At this moment, immaculately dressed, Li Yibo was chatting leisurely in front of the camera and commentated on the two teams. The recent change in Excellent Era was obviously the focus point. And talking about Yichu's commemoration obviously couldn't be avoided. With a solemn expression, Li Yibo recalled a story between Yichu and himself back in the days. Hearing this, Yishu was dumbstruck. UF*CKER, you and I only said a total of 10 words to each other. Make it up. Keep on making it up. Calm and composed, Li Yibo made up the entire story. With just a look, it was obviously a script he prepared beforehand. Soon after, he randomly chatted with the commentator for a bit and then the match officially began. 301 Degrees vs Excellent Era. Individual match, Round 1. Player introduction. 301 Degrees, player, Gao Jia. Character, Stellar Sword. The internet cafe was filled with hissing sounds. There were even curses thrown in there. With regards to the loyal fans, any opponent was an enemy. A complete beatdown would be immensely satisfying. Next up, Excellent Era, player, Su Mucheng. Character, Dancing Rain. Su Mucheng. Yishu still hadn't figured out what had happened when a tsunami of whistles and shouts almost made him fall off his chair. especially the nearby Chen Guo's screeching. They carved into his bones and engraved itself into his heart. What intense reactions, ha, Yi Shu laughed. He had never doubted Su Mucheng's popularity, but this scene made him jump in fright. Of course. She's the #1 female expert, Chen Guo proudly said. This was her #1 idol. #1 female expert? Who said that? Yi Shu said, baffled. That's what everyone says, Chen Guo said. That's just hype, Yi Shu said. If not her, then who else? Chen Guo asked. If you're talking about skill level, then the strongest female expert should be Chu Yongshu, Yi Shu said. Team Misty Rain's Chu Yongshu? Chen Guo asked. Yup. Chen Guo thought for a moment. In the end, the match started and her thoughts immediately flew there. Another, "Oh, Su Mucheng," was shouted, giving her idol a cheer as if she believed that Su Mucheng could hear her. This is a fangirl, Yi Shu exclaimed in surprise. If he called Su Mucheng over to the internet cafe to play around, would this boss be so excited that she'd burn down the internet cafe in order to celebrate? Chapter 89, Home Advantage. In the middle of everyone's cheers, the match officially started. In the pro scene, an overwhelming victor was extremely rare. It was impossible to show off such ridiculous gaps in strength such as between an experienced veteran and a noob. A few powerful, dominating players and their god-level characters could create a certain amount of suppression to ordinary pro players and their characters, but Su Mucheng and her Dancing Rain weren't at this level. However, in comparison, Gao Jia and his Stellar Sword were a bit inferior. But this sort of strength shown on paper wasn't enough to say whether he would win or lose. In this one-on-one match, it wouldn't be a surprise if either of them won. Their performance on stage could either increase or make up for the gap between their strengths on paper. When all was said and done, in the end, this was a player-oriented competition. God-level characters also needed a player to utilize its strength. No matter how tyrannical a player was, there would always be a time when the player would go into a slump and lose. What's more, it was currently a period of rising stars. The title of Unequaled had already been sealed long ago. Beauty Sue, I'll be starting now, a message from the Stellar Sword jumped out in the chat box next to the match scene. That's right, in the glory competitions, although the two opponents couldn't use their voice to communicate, they could type out words to send out a message. In the playing field, there was only this single public chat channel. The messages sent here wouldn't be blocked and would be directly broadcasted for everyone to see. Truthfully, in some matches, the trash talk between the two players were even more memorable than the actual battle. In the pro scene, there was no lack of players who were experts at trash talking to irritate their opponents. After the message was sent out, the opponent would definitely see it. There was no way to block or close the chat box. Of course, whether a player wanted to use this sort of method all relied on the player's preferences. In all of these years, all kinds of players with different styles appeared. There were players that would talk whenever there was a chance to. There were players that would seize any opportunity to calmly insult their opponents. There were players that wouldn't say anything from start to finish. There were even a few dirty players that would fill the screen insulting their opponent's genitals. And ultimately, that sort of dirty talk wasn't blocked either. However, those players would be penalized by the alliance. Moreover, with so many people watching, dirty and violent words would obviously damage the player's image. As a result, most of these happened when they made a mistake and accidentally said them. Specialists in talking dirty hadn't appeared in a long time. Gao Jia's opening remark implicitly made fun of her being a girl. Happy Internet Cafe's numerous fans immediately went into an outrage and roared at him. However, Su Mucheng only typed out a smiley face and said, "Okay." Gao Jia had no other verbal attacks other than his opening remark, so he immediately took out his sword and began to attack. Stellar Sword was a blade master. Su Mucheng was a launcher. One was a long-ranged class and the other a close combat class. Gao Jia relied on his familiarity with the map to wind around, hiding his body as he moved, and quietly closed in on Dancing Rain. Why was Gao Jia familiar with the map? This was because in the regular season, the Glory League adopted a double round-robin system, splitting into a home and away game. The home ground's biggest advantage was that they had the privilege of choosing the map. Glory had numerous battle maps and added new ones every year. Knowing which map they would use naturally meant the players could do research and practice beforehand. They might also play in the same map in their away game, but they obviously wouldn't have the focused practice like when they did in their home games. It was definitely possible that the home team and the visiting team prepared for the same map, but such an occurrence hadn't yet happened. And as the number of maps in Glory increased, the probability of this happening also decreased. If the map chosen was the same as what their opponents had once chosen as their home map, then that was their own mistake and couldn't be blamed on others. The current map that was used in this one-on-one match was a white snow-covered town. Stellar Sword's character wore a full body of white-colored equipment. Even the opponent's silver weapon, white lightsaber, implied that it emitted white light. The reason for using this map was too obvious. At this moment, Stellar Sword was taking the long route to close in on Dancing Rain. The current broadcast was on Stellar Sword's first-person perspective, letting everyone experience his current circumstances. Then, it switched to a bird's-eye view of the entire map. From this view, they could see that Dancing Rain wasn't stupidly staying in her original position, not moving and turning around everywhere. The point of view quickly switched to Dancing Rain. The match broadcast had many different points of views. They didn't only have the player's first-person view. Right now, it was a third-person view letting everyone see that Dancing Rain was circling around a small area scouting around. From this, it could be seen that whether the match was exciting or not was decided by the performance of the two players. However, this broadcast also showed to everyone that an outstanding cameraman was needed for this too. If the camera angle stayed on a bird's eye view from start to finish, then no matter how exciting the match was, the broadcast would turn it into trash. This time, the cameraman was clearly quite good. By switching between these three camera angles, plus the casting by the commentator and the guest, the intentions of both players became obvious. Gao Jia was controlling Stellar Sword along a roundabout route to close in, preparing to catch Dancing Rain off guard. But the experienced Su Mucheng clearly anticipated this. After observing the surrounding terrain, she controlled Su Mucheng to jump to a good sniping spot. This spot occupied the high grounds. If Stellar Sword wanted to get near, then he would have to expose him to Dancing Rain's heavy fire. Happy Internet Cafe immediately started booing and laughing. Their laughing was naturally aimed at Gao Jia. He had originally wanted to mount a sneak attack, but now he would fall to Dancing Rain instead. But Yi Shu knew that there was no way it would be so simple. If Gao Jia really would fall from this ambush, then he would have wasted his home ground advantage. Just as expected, Yi Shu predicted correctly. After Gao Jia's Stellar Sword closed in, he didn't rashly rush forward. Instead, he took another detour and slipped his head out from a small alley to look around. This guy sneaking about really is so wretched. Just hurry up and die already, Chen Guo impatiently said. Yi Shu shook his head, his current position as a blind spot. Su Mucheng's movements were within his calculations. Gao Jia's current position is a blind spot. No matter what sniping spot Su Mucheng chooses, none of them would have been able to see his position. It looks like all of Su Mucheng's movements are within his calculations. In the broadcast, Li Yibo's voice also said this at just the right time. It was identical to what Yi Shu said. It looks like 301's research on this map was very thorough, the commentator laughed. Naturally, Li Yibo said. How does Gao Jia know which sniping spot Su Mucheng is hiding at? Chen Guo was startled when she said this because the commentator also asked the same question. Footprints, Yi Shu and Li Yibo answered. Their answers were the same. Chapter 90, The Footprints Are a Trap. Oh, so it was the footprints, the commentator suddenly realized. Everyone look, the map 301 chose is a snowy land, so after a character moves, the character will leave behind a footprint. Following his explanation, the broadcast showed a few of the footprints Dancing Rain left behind. But if he goes out to check the footprints, then he'll expose himself to Dancing Rain's fire, the commentator felt. So look here, Stellar Sword began moving, while Li Yibo explained, Gao Jia should be going to a footprint where Su Mucheng can't see him. 301 has studied this map very thoroughly. Oh, is there such a spot? The commentator was unconvinced. Probably only Gao Jia can answer this question. Li Yibo pretended to move back and forth in suspense. Ha ha ha. Quote, the commentator laughed. Actually, to be a professional glory commentator, Pan Lin had already done this for several years. He himself was a glory fan. Although he wasn't at the level of a pro player, he had done this as work for a long time, so his scope on the game wasn't ordinary. He probably already knew the answers to his previous doubts and questions, but no choice, that's what the program wanted. The commentator and the honored guest were supposed to echo each other and chat. The commentator and the honored guests did different work. The commentator usually introduced the subjects, while the honored guest analyzed. Pan Lin had commentated for many years and had worked together with Li Yibo many times. They could be considered well coordinated. Gao Jia controlled Stellar Sword to go around the surroundings. After finding a spot, the camera angle changed, giving everyone Stellar Sword's first-person view. Just as expected, Stellar Sword found one of Dancing Rain's footprints. As spectators who had seen the map from a bird's eye view, they obviously knew that this footprint was already enough to expose Dancing Rain's position. Sure enough, she was found. The commentator said, Su Mucheng is too careless. This mistake shouldn't have been made. Yeah, it looks like Yi Chu's retirement had a big mental impact on her. From when she first started her career, she had always been with Yi Chu. Li Yibo spoke as if he understood the situation well. Oh no, what should she do? Chen Guo nervously tugged at Yi Chu's arm. Yi Chu laughed a little. He puffed out a smoke and said, the footprint is the real trap. What? Chen Guo was startled. She turned her head towards Yi Chu. Her previous question wasn't actually aimed at Yi Chu. She was simply nervous and was talking to herself. Look, Yi Chu pointed at the projection. The sound of a gun came through. Chen Guo immediately turned her head. Dancing Rain was using an aerial fire to move. In midair, she targeted Stellar Sword, who was behind the wall, and launched an anti-tank missile. Gao Jia clearly hadn't anticipated this sudden attack. The anti-tank missile sent out 3 artillery shells that whistled over. It was already too late to dodge them. The artillery shells exploded and the shock wave blasted Stellar Sword into the wall. Su Mucheng landed on a roof. Her pitch-black gun aimed at Stellar Sword and a tongue of flame roared out. An artillery shell flew out a short distance and then suddenly exploded into several smaller artillery shells and dropped down in numerous arcs towards Stellar Sword. No matter what direction Stellar Sword moved, he was already trapped. Launcher skill, FIM-92, Stinger. The fired artillery shell would explode into 8 stingers and drop down, carrying out an AoE attack. This skill was usually used on flat grounds and pointed up towards the sky. After the initial artillery shell exploded, the smaller stingers would envelop the target, dropping from the sky. However, Dancing Rain was already on higher grounds, so she saved time by not needing to calculate where to release Stinger. Although Stellar Sword couldn't avoid the shots, he could still try to minimize the damage. If he stood there without moving, then he would take damage from all 8 stingers. As a result, Gao Jia controlled Stellar Sword to rush forward. There was no way he could avoid the damage, so he decided that he might as well close the distance between Dancing Rain. Right now, he was already closing in. There was no point in trying to mount a sneak attack in his position. He opened up a path with triple slash. After eating 2 stingers, Stellar Sword rushed to underneath the house and immediately used Rising Dragon. He raised his sword above his head. Light flashed out and he flew up. Relying on this skill's powerful lift-off, Gao Jia believed that the gunner had no way of blocking his path up to the roof. Just as expected, he rose onto the roof and looked. Dancing Rain had already pulled away, maintaining a certain distance from Stellar Sword. Seeing that Stellar Sword was about to land on the roof after flying up, Dancing Rain's hands made a clicking sound and a heat-seeking missile launched in an arc dropping towards the edge of the house. Heat-seeking missile. Using a heat source to find its target, it dropped from the sky to attack the opponent. It had a wide explosion radius and had high damage. It was an extremely powerful skill. Except, it was too slow. The not yet landed Stellar Sword used a sword draw in midair. A snow-white sword light streaked across the sky. With a dong, it accurately hit the heat source. Beautiful, Pan Lin and Li Yibo exclaimed in admiration at this brilliant and outstanding move. But at this moment, a smiley face sent by Su Mucheng flashed on the chat box. Immediately following, a thick pillar of light dropped from the sky, completely enveloping Stellar's sword from head to toe. Stellar's sword and the house underneath his feet exploded and then collapsed. The light pillar spun and then split into 6 smaller light pillars. While spinning, they revolved around the center and then gradually spread out, causing the snow on the ground to fly up, covering the sky with a sheet of white snow. Launcher ultimate skill, satellite beam. An amazing satellite beam. The commentator Pan Lin reacted quite quickly. Immediately following with these words, the original high praise beautiful looked as if they had anticipated this and were praising Su Mucheng. Li Yibo's reaction wasn't slow either, he immediately followed. It looks like Gao Jia miscalculated this time. Let's all see how much damage this satellite beam did. Pan Lin directed the cameraman to look at Stellar Sword's life. It looks like it's gone down a third, Li Yibo said. Let me see, you're right. Stellar Sword's life dropped by 1/3. This satellite beam really did some work. Adding on to the previous anti-tank missile and stinger damage, Gao Jia is not in a good situation, Pan Lin shouted. Correct, let's see if he has any new methods to close in on Dancing Rain. If the distance between them is kept like this, then there's no way he'll be able to beat a launcher, Li Yibo said extensively. The point you've analyzed is correct, Pan Lin immediately followed. From when Dancing Rain was about to be sneak attacked to Stellar Sword being caught unprepared and losing a third of his life in an instant, Happy Internet Cafe's fans all stared in awe and all forgot to cheer. This included Chen Guo. Until she heard Yi Shu say, "It's over for Gao Jia. Su Mucheng is in an extremely good situation."